My name is Daniel Harper, and until a year ago I never believed in anything paranormal. I'm 34, married to my high school sweetheart Emily, and we have a 9-year-old daughter named Lily. We grew up in Boston, where the city lights drown out the stars, and noise never truly stops. But after years of grinding jobs and constant bills, we decided to get away from it all. That decision, to leave behind the city for peace, nearly destroyed us. It started the first night we moved into the cabin. The place sat deep in the Vermont woods, an old log house we found listed online. The photos showed a charming rustic hideaway, a wood-burning stove, a porch with a swing, and just enough space for the three of us. The nearest neighbor was over 2 miles away, which sounded perfect at the time. Emily dreamed of writing her novel, and I wanted to try remote work in IT. Lily loved the idea of exploring the forest like she was in a storybook. It felt like the adventure we all needed. When we arrived, the air smelled like pine and damp earth. The realtor, a stout man named Carl, handed us the keys with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "You folks will love it here," he said, but his tone felt rehearsed, like he'd said it 1,000 times to convince himself. The first night, after boxes were stacked and beds were made, we sat around the fireplace eating takeout pizza. Emily laughed as Lily chased our golden retriever, Max, around the living room. It felt right, safe, like a new beginning. Around midnight, though, my phone buzzed. An unknown number flashed across the screen. Normally, I would have ignored it, but we were in a new place, and part of me thought maybe it was the realtor or a delivery service. I answered. Static hissed, like the sound of an old radio not quite tuned in. At first, I thought it was a bad connection. Then I heard it. A voice. A whisper that slithered through the static. "I can see you. I'm outside." My skin went cold. "Who is this?" I asked, forcing a laugh to mask my unease. No response. Just more static. Then a click. The call ended. I shook it off as some prank, maybe a wrong number. I didn't mention it to Emily. The next morning we found Max scratching at the back door, whining at the tree line like something had been out there all night. His hackles stood up, tail tucked between his legs. I'd never seen him so rattled. By the third night it happened again. Another call, same static, same whisper. Only this time the voice said, "Don't look out the window." I froze. My hand twitched toward the curtains, but something inside me told me not to. Not out of obedience, but fear of what I might see. I didn't sleep much after that. Emily noticed. One evening, as she poured coffee into chipped mugs we'd found in the cabin cupboards, she asked, "Dan, are you okay? You've been off. Did I do something?" I shook my head. "No, Em. It's just the stress of moving. New place, new routine. Takes time, you know?" But the truth was clawing at me. That night I decided to prove to myself it was nothing. I stayed up late, phone in hand, determined to catch the call. Sure enough, at 12:47 a.m., the screen lit up. Same number, same unknown caller. I answered with a hard voice. "Listen, whoever this is, you need to stop." The whisper cut me off, louder this time. "Step outside. I'm waiting." My heart thudded in my chest. I wanted to hang up, but my body wouldn't move. The static grew louder until I thought it might burst my eardrum. Then, clear as day, a low chuckle slipped through the line. I slammed the phone down on the table. Moments later, Max barked furiously at the front door. He scratched and growled, his teeth bared at the darkness beyond the porch. I gripped the nearest thing I could, a fireplace poker, and edged to the window. But when I pulled back the curtain, nothing was there. Just trees swaying under the moonlight. The next morning, Emily found me sitting at the table, eyes bloodshot. I finally told her about the calls. She frowned, tried to rationalize. "Maybe it's a scammer. You know how many weird spam calls there are these days." "Spam callers don't say they're outside our house, Em," I snapped, harsher than I meant to. She didn't argue, just rubbed her arms like the air in the room had turned colder. That afternoon, while unpacking boxes, Lily ran up to me clutching a sheet of paper. "Daddy, Look what I found in the closet. It was a page ripped from an old notebook, yellowed at the edges. Scrawled across it in jagged handwriting were the words, "Don't answer the phone at night." I stared at it, my stomach knotting. "Where exactly did you find this, Lil?" "In my closet," she said innocently. "Behind a loose board. There's more paper in there." I went to check, pulling the board aside. Dozens of similar notes were stuffed inside the wall. Some warnings, some ramblings. "It watches. Don't invite it in. Stay quiet after midnight." That night, I begged Emily to let us leave, at least for a few days. She refused. "Dan, we spent everything to move here. We can't just pack up and run because of some creepy prank caller and old notes. It's probably just some local kids messing with us." Her logic was sound, but my gut screamed otherwise. At 12:47 a.m. sharp, the phone rang again. This time, Emily answered before I could stop her. "Hello? Who is this?" Static. Then, slowly, a voice rasped, "Emily, come outside." Her face drained of color. She hung up and stared at me. How the hell do they know my name? Neither of us slept that night. 2 days later, things escalated. Max disappeared. We let him out after dinner to do his usual run, but he never came back. We called and called, searched the woods with flashlights, but found nothing. Lily cried herself to sleep, clutching his leash. Emily tried to stay strong, but I could see her shaking as she washed dishes with trembling hands. At 12:47 a.m., the phone rang again. This time, I didn't answer. I let it ring until voicemail picked up. When I checked the message, my blood turned to ice. It was Max, whimpering, crying, and behind him, that same whisper, "I'm waiting." I couldn't bring myself to play the voicemail for Emily. She was already unraveling after Max disappeared, and I knew hearing his cries twisted into that awful recording would break her completely. Instead, I deleted it and told her the caller hadn't left a message. But I couldn't shake the sound. Max's whimper. That whisper. "I'm waiting." It looped in my head like a song I couldn't forget. The next morning, I told Emily we needed to contact the police. She agreed, though reluctantly. A deputy from the county sheriff's office drove out that afternoon. His name was Deputy Harris, mid-40s, mustache, heavy-set. He looked out of place against the dark line of trees behind the cabin. "Strange phone calls, missing dog," he said as he scribbled in a notepad. "You folks sure this isn't just a prank? Happens a lot out in rural places. Teenagers drive out, mess with newcomers." "This isn't kids," I said firmly. The caller knew my wife's name. "They called our landline, not just my cell, and they left a message with the sound of my dog, our missing dog. That's not a prank." Deputy Harris gave me a long look, then sighed. "All right, I'll file a report. But cell reception out here is spotty. Landlines can be tapped, spoofed. Could be somebody in town with too much time. Keep your doors locked. If you see anything or anyone lurking around, call us immediately." He didn't believe me. I could see it in his eyes. We were just city people spooked by the woods. That night, Emily suggested we take shifts sleeping so one of us could keep watch. She curled up with Lily while I sat in the living room, the poker from the fireplace across my lap. Hours passed. Midnight came and went. At 12:47 a.m., the phone rang. I didn't want to answer, but something compelled me. Like if I didn't, it would be worse. I picked it up with shaking hands. The static was thicker this time, crackling so loud it drowned out my breathing. Then beneath it, the voice. "Why did you bring her here?" My blood froze. "Who are you talking about?" A pause. Then, "The child. She sees me." I dropped the phone like it had burned me. My eyes darted to Lily's room down the hall. I rushed in, heart hammering. She was awake, sitting up in bed, staring at the window. Her small voice was calm. Too calm. "Daddy, the man says he wants to come inside." My legs nearly gave out. I yanked the curtain shut and pulled her into my arms. She was trembling, though her voice hadn't cracked. I carried her to our room, where Emily demanded to know what was happening. I couldn't explain. I just told her we'd all sleep together that night. By morning, Emily was pale and exhausted. Over breakfast, Lily quietly asked if Max was coming back. Neither of us answered. Later, while Emily tried to distract her with a board game, I walked the perimeter of the property. About 50 yards from the house, in the soft earth beneath the trees, I found something that made my stomach twist. Dog tracks. Max's paw prints. Only they weren't alone. Next to them were bare human footprints. Large. Deep. As if whoever it was had been walking beside him. I followed them until they disappeared into the underbrush. When I came back inside, Emily was on the porch with her phone, voice low. She was calling her mother in Boston, asking if we could come stay. I didn't stop her. For once, leaving seemed like the only sane option, but the weather had other plans. That afternoon, a storm rolled in, battering the cabin with rain and wind so strong the trees groaned. The power flickered, then died. We were left in darkness, the only light coming from candles and the faint glow of my laptop battery. The storm raged late into the night. We huddled together in the living room, trying to drown out the howling wind with whispered conversation. At exactly 12:47 a.m., even with the power out, the landline rang. The sound cut through the storm like a blade. Emily covered her ears. "Don't answer it, Dan, please." But I couldn't help myself. I lifted the receiver. The static was quieter this time, almost gentle. Then the voice spoke, clearer than ever. "I'm at the door." My head snapped toward the front porch. The storm still screamed outside, but beneath it, I thought I heard something else. A faint knock, then another, louder. I grabbed the poker again, my hands slick with sweat. Emily clutched Lily to her chest, rocking her like she was a baby again. The knocking stopped. Silence. I crept to the window and pulled the curtain back just an inch. The porch was empty. Rain poured in sheets. But in the yard, just beyond the reach of the lantern glow, something moved. A figure, too tall, too still, standing among the trees. I dropped the curtain. My chest heaved as if I'd run a marathon. The phone clicked, ending the call. The rest of the night dragged on in terrified silence. By dawn, the storm had passed. We agreed we couldn't stay another night. Bags were packed, boxes taped shut. We loaded everything into the SUV. Lily still half asleep in the back seat. But when I turned the key, the engine only sputtered. I tried again. Nothing. The battery was dead, though I'd checked it the day before. Emily's face crumpled. "Dan, we can't stay here." I tried to calm her, but my own voice was shaking. "We'll hike to town if we have to. Just, not tonight, in daylight." We spent that day in fear, every creak of the cabin making us jump. Lily stayed unusually quiet, coloring in one of her books. Around mid-afternoon, she held up a drawing. It was of the cabin, and outside the window, she had drawn a tall figure with no face, just a shadow where features should be. "He says he likes the woods," she whispered when Emily asked. "He says he was here before us." I felt sick. That night I refused to answer the phone. When it rang at 12:47, I let it echo through the cabin until the machine picked up. The message was short, just 5 words in that rasping whisper. "You can't leave tonight." Emily sobbed quietly into her pillow. I sat awake until dawn, clutching the poker, watching the trees outside sway in the wind. When morning finally came, I went outside to check the SUV again. This time, my blood froze. Every inch of the car was covered in handprints. Small ones, child-sized, pressed into the dirt and dew. But Lily had been inside with us all night. I stood in the driveway staring at those handprints for what felt like hours, my breath clouding in the crisp morning air. They were too small, too perfect, scattered across the hood, the windows, even the roof of the SUV. "Emily," I called, my voice cracking. She came to the door with Lily clinging to her side. When she saw the car, her knees buckled. "This isn't possible," she whispered. But it was. Somehow, in the middle of the night, something had been right outside with us, touching everything we owned while we sat helpless inside. That was the breaking point. We couldn't pretend anymore. We had to get out no matter what. We'll hike to town, I said, my voice hoarse but firm. It's 10 miles, maybe less. We'll pack light and go together. Emily nodded, but her eyes darted nervously toward the tree line. We filled backpacks with food, water, flashlights, and Lily's favorite stuffed bear. By late morning, we were ready. I locked the cabin out of instinct, though I knew it meant nothing against whatever had been tormenting us. The woods were eerily silent as we started down the dirt road. No birds, no rustle of small animals, just the crunch of our boots on gravel and the occasional sniffle from Lily. About 2 miles in, we came across something that stopped us cold. It was Max, or what was left of him. His body lay twisted in the ditch, matted fur soaked through with mud. His eyes were gone, his mouth frozen open in a silent whimper. Emily pulled Lily away before she could see, but I couldn't look away. The paw prints were all around him, mixed with those same barefoot human prints. Emily sobbed quietly as we kept walking. Lily pressed her face into my back, refusing to look up. The road twisted deeper into the forest. Hours passed. The sun slipped behind thick clouds, turning everything gray. My legs ached, but I forced myself forward, repeating silently, "Just a few more miles, just a few more miles." Then, at 12:47 p.m., exactly, my phone buzzed. I froze. There was no reception in these woods. I'd checked 100 times, but somehow, the call was coming through. Same number. Emily's voice cracked. "Dan, don't..." But I did. I pressed the phone to my ear. The static roared louder than ever, so loud I thought my skull would split. Then came the voice, calm and deliberate. "You can't walk away. This is home now." The phone went dead in my hand. Emily was trembling. Clutching Lily so tightly the girl whimpered, "Dan, we can't do this. It doesn't want us to leave." I shoved the phone in my pocket and pulled her close. "No, that's exactly why we have to leave. Whatever it is, it feeds on fear. On us staying." We pushed forward, but the forest seemed endless. The road wound back and forth, never leading anywhere. At some point, I realized we'd been walking in circles. We passed the same gnarled oak 3 times. Panic gnawed at me. Emily started crying openly. Lily asked in a small voice, "Daddy, are we lost?" I lied and told her no. As dusk fell, we stumbled upon something that stole the last of my hope. The cabin. Our cabin. We'd walked for hours, yet here we were, standing at the edge of our own driveway. The Khazar still smeared with handprints. The porch swing creaks in the wind. Emily collapsed to her knees. "No, no, no, no," Lily whispered. "The man says this is his woods. We can't leave because it's his." My skin prickled. "Lily, what man?" She looked at me with eyes too old for her age. "The one who calls. He talks to me when I'm asleep. He says he was here long before us. He likes wit when we're scared." Emily clutched her tighter. "Don't say that, baby. Don't listen to him." But Lily just lay her head on her mother's shoulder, like she'd accepted it. That night, we didn't bother pretending we could sleep. We sat together in the living room, waiting. The phone rang at exactly 12:47. I answered, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped it. The voice was different now, stronger, almost gleeful. "Come outside, Daniel. Bring them with you." My throat tightened. "What do you want from us?" Silence then. "I want you to stay." The line clicked dead, and then the knocking began. Not just at the front door, at every door, every window. Sharp raps, relentless, circling the cabin. Emily screamed. Lily buried her face in her lap. I gripped the poker, standing in the center of the room like I could protect them from all sides at once. The knocking stopped. Then, from Lily's room, came the sound of the window sliding open. I ran. The curtains billowed as cold night air rushed inside. For a split second, I saw it. A figure, tall and thin, retreating into the tree line. Its arms were too long, its body unnaturally still as it moved. No face, just a blur where features should be. And Lily was standing at the window, reaching after it, I grabbed her, pulled her back, and slammed the window shut. She screamed at me, thrashing. "He said I can go with him. He said he'll keep me safe." My heart shattered. "No, baby, he's lying. He doesn't want to keep you safe." She sobbed until she collapsed against me, exhausted. By dawn, Emily and I were shells of ourselves. We couldn't keep going like this. Something in these woods had claimed us, and it wanted Lily most of all. I made a choice. While Emily and Lily slept, I took the phone outside. I walked into the trees, deeper than I'd ever gone. The woods were silent, suffocating. At exactly 12:47 p.m., the phone rang. I answered. "Take me instead," static hissed. Then the voice. "Brave, but useless. It's the child I want." "No!" I shouted, tears blinding me. "Leave her alone! Leave my family alone!" The laughter that followed was the most inhuman sound I'd ever heard. It rattled through the trees, through my bones. Then the line went dead. I stumbled back to the cabin, shaking. Emily knew, just by looking at me, that it wasn't over. That night, the calls didn't come. The knocking stopped. The woods were silent again. For a brief moment, I thought maybe it was over. Until I found Lily's bed empty. The window was wide open, curtains fluttering. Her stuffed bear lay on the floor. We searched the woods for hours, screaming her name until our voices gave out. But she was gone. Emily collapsed in the yard, wailing. I held her, numb, staring at the tree line where I'd last seen that faceless figure. The sheriff's office searched for weeks. They found nothing. Not a footprint, not a scrap of clothing. Just gone. It's been a year now. Emily barely speaks. We left the cabin, moved back to Boston. But it doesn't matter. The phone still rings. Every night at 12:47 a.m., and when I answer, I hear Lily's voice, whispering from somewhere deep in the static. "Daddy, I'm outside." And that was the story of the night caller from the woods. Some say the Vermont forests still hide something that watches, waiting, calling at exactly 12:47 every night. Would you answer the phone? If it rang for you? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. And remember, the next call you get after midnight might not be from someone you know.